Perfect. Okay, guys, let's get started without any further ado. I guess everyone is here. Now, before we do so, a quick formal introduction on my name is Mohammed Shoaib. I'm a cybersecurity trainer certified from EC Council. EC Council is the leading organization for trainings and certifications in the domain of cybersecurity. And the demo that we're going to take today is on a course called Certified Ethical Hacking version 12. Now, this is the course specifically designed for people who are new to the domain of cybersecurity, who don't know what cybersecurity is, who don't know what hacking or ethical hacking means. Okay, so let's get started with the definition of what hacking is and what ethical hacking is. And again, some people might be surprised that these are two different terms. Most of the times, people think hacking and ethical hacking are one and the same term. So let me just clarify that confusion and define both these terms now. So when you talk about ethical hacking, first let's go with hacking. When you talk about hacking, it is the procedure of trying to gain access to information systems. What I mean by that phrase, gaining access to information systems, is that for example, if I've hacked your phone, it basically means I've got complete remote connection to your phone. I can remotely access the data on the phone. I can remotely modify the data on your phone. I can steal your data and sell it to other people. And all of this is done without your consent, without your permission. Okay. So hacking is the procedure of trying to gain access to information systems, no matter what that device is. It could be as small as a mobile phone or as big as a database or a web application server. And this is done without the consent or the knowledge of the person owning those systems. And this is usually performed for the hacker's benefit. Or again, they can be so mischievous that they can even do it just for fun. So once he has gained access to those devices, he can steal the data from those devices, destroy the data, delete the data on those devices, or sell that data to other people. Okay. Now, if hacking is such a malicious task or a criminal activity, why do we have a course called ethical hacking is the question. And how is this getting ethical in the first place? So when you define ethical hacking, on the other hand, it is the procedure of trying to find vulnerabilities. This term called vulnerability is something that you'll be hearing throughout the course. A vulnerability to be defined is a loophole or a security flaw in the information system. And hackers try to take advantage or try to exploit these vulnerabilities to gain access to your devices. So our job in ethical hacking is to find these vulnerabilities or loopholes in the information systems with the consent and with the permission of the organization. So you work hand in hand with the organization, abide by all the rules and regulations and abide by all their policies that they set. And you don't cross any line, you don't cross any boundaries, okay, that they set. And you work in their parameters to find the vulnerabilities. Okay. And once the vulnerabilities have been found on the devices, you report it back to the organization so that they can apply the necessary security updates or patches. And once a patch is applied and once a vulnerability has been remediated, you have protected your organization from hackers. So basically, you're trying to, again, it's a race of time, basically, before you and the ethical hackers. So whoever finds the vulnerability first is capable of securing or harming the organization. Okay. So your job in ethical hacking is to find the vulnerabilities at the earliest, report it back to the company, and secure the organization so that no hackers can exploit them and cause any. Okay. Again, guys, the voice is a bit hoarse today, so again, I have a bit of a sore throat. So please let me know if again, if certain words are not clear, or if you don't understand something, please do not hesitate to interrupt me at any certain point and ask your questions. Okay. So I hope I'm audible perfectly fine and there's no issues with the audio nor the video. And any questions until now, until this point? Anyone? Krishna, Vivek, Shankar, Feroz, Shushmita, Tarun.
Yeah, nothing of my from my side.
Okay. Um, guys, I
Am
hope
I
this.
audible, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you, Vivek.
Yes.
The voice is distorting a bit, but I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear your voice. It's further away too.
Sorry, I didn't get you. You were saying
Yeah,
something?
now your voice is a bit better. Yeah, I think now that it was coming something like that villain kind of background music of yours. That's it.
Oh, background disturbance.
Yeah,
Mm,
no, there was like an echo which was coming along with your voice, but now it's fine. No issues.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I hope there's no Shushmita. Any questions up to this point?
No questions so far.
Oh, okay, sure, Tarun. I'll go a bit slow, definitely. But although I hope this is clear until now, Tarun, do you want me to explain something again? If it wasn't clear. Yeah, Tarun, I just saw the message. Any questions, Tarun?
No, no, no.
Okay, perfect. I'll go a bit slow. Now, depending on these two definitions, guys, we can categorize the types of hackers. Okay, so there's someone known as a black hat hacker, there's someone known as a gray hat hacker, and then there's someone known as a white hat hacker. Okay, black hat hackers are also commonly called as cyber criminals who perform hacking for their own benefit or just for fun. And all of this is done without asking for permission for their own benefit. I get that. Again, that's an important point to note. They don't care about the systems, I mean, the organization's well being. They just want to take their advantage out of the vulnerabilities that they find in the organization's devices. On the other end of the spectrum, you have someone called a white hat. That hackers are also commonly called as ethical hackers. Okay, the good guys, the cybersecurity professionals who abide by all the laws and policies of the organization and work with them in securing the structure, securing the security, okay, of the organization. Okay, so if there's any vulnerabilities, they try to find them, try to remediate them, and they try to increase, okay, the security. And in between, there's a third category called gray hat hackers. Now, these guys have both the qualities of a black hat hacker as well as a white hat hacker. So, like a black hat hacker, they don't ask for permission first. They don't take any consent or so. But once they find a vulnerability, they report it back to the organization. But there is a minor catch here. They don't do this for free, obviously. They do it in return for something called a bounty. A bounty is something which benefits them for finding the vulnerability and reporting it back to the company without taking advantage of it, without exploiting it, okay, for other malicious activities. So there, you could also call them like freelance hackers or bug bounty hunters. They hunt for bugs in organizations or in the systems and organizations for a bounty in return. I think that bounty could be a financial reward or a reputational reward, anything which benefits the hacker. And all these three types of hackers, the professional hackers, black hat, gray hat, or white hat hackers, perform hacking or ethical hacking in a certain procedure. And that procedure is called as hacking cycle, or sometimes companies can also refer it to as cyber kill chain. And EC Council has again divided this hacking cycle or cyber kill chain into 5 simple steps. Let me list the steps out first, and we'll briefly discuss about each of these steps one by one, okay, throughout the demo. So the first step in hacking cycle or cyber kill chain is called as information gathering. Some companies also refer to as reconnaissance or footprinting. Second step is called as scanning. It can also be referred to as enumeration. Third step is gaining access. Fourth step is maintaining access. And the last step is called reporting or clearing traces. Now, if you carefully observe here, only in the last step I've mentioned the word or. The reason being, no matter what kind of a hacker you are, whether you be a black hat hacker or a gray hat hacker or a white hat hacker, all the steps in the step from step number 1 to step number 4 are exactly identical for every kind of a hacker. So no matter what, whether you're a black hat hacker, gray hat hacker, or a white hat hacker, you compulsorily need to follow the first 4 steps. It's mandatory. There's no change in that. What changes is only the last step. So if you are a white hat hacker or a gray hat hacker, you report the vulnerabilities that you have found to the organization. Okay, so you submit a report telling them these are the flaws, these are the weaknesses in your systems, and you have to remediate these. You have to apply these patches. On the other hand, if you're a black hat hacker, you're not going to do that. You definitely won't be contacting the organization. You perform your attacks, you take advantage of the vulnerabilities, and you try to slowly exit. You try to see that you again leave no traces. You try to remove all the footprints. You try to delete all the logs and see to it that you cannot be traced back. You try to stay as anonymous as possible. And that in simple terms is called as clearing traces. Trying to slowly exit out of the network and trying to see that you're not caught again. Okay. So these are the 5 steps that are involved in hacking or ethical hacking. Okay. And our whole course of cybersecurity or certified ethical hacking is going to revolve around these 5 simple steps. Okay. So let's talk about the first step now, information gathering. Now, as I've mentioned, this is the first step that is required in order to perform proper hacking or ethical hacking. Now, from the name itself, you can figure out what the step involves. You're trying to gather as much information as possible about your target organization. And this information is gathered passively. What I mean by passively is that you do not contact the organization in any way. And the organization has no clue that someone is trying to gather information about them. Okay, so this information is retrieved from other third-party sources on the internet. Now, your main question would be, what kind of information are we looking for over here? And this is the information as follows. Now, again, you might ask, why is this necessary? So if I explain this with the example of a bank robbery, let's say. So if I were a bank robber and if I had to rob a bank, basically, the first thing I do is observe the bank externally. So I discreetly or secretively just observe the bank, try to gather information about the bank externally. So I just observe when the bank opens, when the bank closes, how many security guards are placed outside the bank, where are the CCTV cameras installed outside the bank, on what day of the week does the money van come in. Okay, so trying to just externally observe the bank from outside. Okay, and while I do this, I try to see to it that I'm totally anonymous and no one knows or again observes that I'm trying to get this information. All this information is just passively obtained. Okay, you do not give any clue to anyone that you're gathering this information. Similarly, when you're performing hacking or ethical hacking, you try to retrieve information about the organization from other websites on the internet. Okay. Again, there's tons and tons of gold mines on the internet from where you can retrieve these pieces of information. So when you perform information gathering, firstly, you need to find the IP addresses or the range of IP addresses used by the organization. Understanding what is the identity for each of the devices that you're using. Okay. So if an organization has web servers, FTP servers, okay, DNS servers, you need to get the identity of those servers. And that identity is called as an IP address. IP address is a numerical address given to every device on the internet. So you need to know that exact address for those devices. Then you need to find the who is records, telling you who is hosting the website for that organization. When was their website first hosted? When will their website expire? Okay, all that information is placed in who's records. Then you need the DNS records, information stored in their DNS servers, giving you the data of all the domains and subdomains the organization has, and the IP addresses linked with those domains and subdomains. Then you need to find the employee details, such as the contact numbers, email addresses, publicly leaked usernames and passwords, okay, and the operating system information. What OS are they using for their servers? Are they using Linux servers? Are they using Windows servers? Again, what operating system are they using for every device that they're hosting on the internet? Believe it or not, all this information can be obtained from the internet itself. If I show you a very basic example for this, if I wanted to find the DNS records, all I have to do is go to my browser, and in my browser, I can search for a website called DNS Dumpster. Again, a very popular website in the cybersecurity circle. You can click on the first link that pops up. And here, as you can notice, there's a search bar. You have to enter the domain name of the organization that you're gathering information for. So if my target were netflix.com, I just have to mention that domain here, netflix.com. And when I click on search, this starts providing me the information stored on the DNS servers of Netflix. So if I scroll down, it first tells me where the Netflix servers are geolocated. Most of them are in Central America. And if you scroll down a bit further, it tells me that there are 4 DNS servers for Netflix. This could be one of the primary servers, and the others could be secondary servers. Okay. And these are the exact IP addresses for the servers. Now, these IP addresses are what are most crucial for a hacker or an ethical hacker, because these are the pieces of information that he's going to use in the upcoming operations in the scanning or the gaining access part. Okay. So now you know that there are 4 servers, and I know the exact identity for those servers. And in these servers, you have the remaining records here. Okay, the MX records, TXT records, and so and so. MX records tell you what are the mail servers for Netflix. So right now, Netflix has 5 mail servers through which all the emails for them and the clients are routed. And these are the exact IPs for those mail servers, as you can see, one by one. Scroll down much further, we have host records. Host records telling you what are the domains of Netflix and the subdomains of Netflix and their exact IP addresses. as you can see. So these are all the devices that are publicly hosted from the Netflix organization and have their exact IPs on which I can perform further information gathering. Scroll down much further down, you have a complete summary here, the complete network topology, telling how Netflix servers are connected to one another and what IP addresses do they have. Okay. Again, believe it or not, this information is given by Netflix itself, frankly speaking. Netflix needs to provide this information online, but it doesn't provide it in one single place. DNS dumpster does the job of collecting all that information and putting it in one single place for us to access it and try to understand what all IPs or what all domains does Netflix have. Okay, so nothing is illegal here. This information needs to be given out by Netflix. The only thing that Netflix needs to care about is whatever information they're giving out, that is secure or not. So they cannot hide this information. That's not possible at all. They need to give out these domain names and their public IPs for the users to access them. But when they're giving out a domain or a public IP, they also need to check that domain cannot be attacked on. It doesn't contain any weaknesses or vulnerabilities on it. Okay. Is that clear, guys? Any questions or doubts up to this part? Shushmita, Vivek, of Sheikh Feroz, Krishna, Shankar.
Listening, sir, this is fine. I'm trying to understand the things properly. So yes, good and informative.
Perfect. Tarun, any questions on your end? I hope it's better.
No, sir. Yeah, it's better.
Okay. Shushmita, any questions on your end?
No questions so far, Shoaib. Thank you.
Okay. Umesh, Yashwant, I guess you've joined a bit late, guys. Try to follow along. Or if not, again, there'll be a recording of this as well. It will be uploaded on YouTube itself. So you can fetch it from there as well. Okay. So again, coming back to the next concept, guys, once all this information has been gathered, then the next thing that you perform over here is scanning. So once all the information has been gathered on those IP addresses or on the domain names that you gather, you perform scanning. Now, scanning is where you try to retrieve some extra information by making active connections. So you have to make contact with those servers and retrieve extra information from those servers or those IP addresses. Now, if we take that example of the bank robbery, which I gave you a few minutes ago, similarly, again, as a bank robber, I can't gather all the information from outside. I need to know what the internal structure of the bank is as well. So I need to enter the bank once and see how the bank is secure internally. Okay. Where are the security cameras or CCTV cameras installed inside the bank? How many security guards are there inside the bank? Okay. Are there any extra security measures inside the bank? Okay. And in which corner of the bank or in which floor of the bank is the vault located? Okay. To gather all this information, I definitely need to enter the bank once. But when I enter, I'm giving away my information as well. So I get captured in their CCTV logs. Okay. Similarly, when you talk about scanning, this is a procedure where you make active connections with the target. So whatever IPs you have gathered in the information gathering phase, you try to attack those IPs. You try to send packets on those IPs. And when you're sending packets, your information is given as well. They know who is sending packets. Okay. But this is quite a crucial step. Now, to explain scanning in a much better way, I can segregate it or divide it in three simple parts. There's something called as network scanning, port scanning, and vulnerability scanning. In network scanning, you try to figure out in their internal organization, in their intranet, how many active devices are there. So what kind of servers are they using? What routers are they using? What firewalls are they using? Are they using any IPS systems, intrusion detection and intrusion prevention systems? So just trying to figure out how many active devices are there inside their network. Okay, getting a network topology of their internal network. Once you know what all devices exist, on them you perform port scanning again, trying to figure out on those devices what ports are open and what services are they running. Okay, are they using a DNS service? Are they using a DHCP service? Are they using any mail services or SNMP service and so on? So FTP service. So just trying to figure out what services and what applications are they using on their systems. Finally, after you find the services and applications running, then you perform vulnerability scanning, trying to figure out on those services or on those applications, are there any weaknesses that you can attack? So it's a step-by-step procedure, finding the devices first, on those devices, what services are running or what applications are running, And then on those applications, are there any loopholes? Are there any weaknesses I can attack on? So during this phase, we'll be using two very important tools. One of them is called Nmap. So you can go to your browser and search for Nmap. Again, one of the most important tools in our cybersecurity, frankly speaking. And it's been again, it's quite an old tool. It's been there since 1997 itself. But still, even in today's world, it's still used in the latest top-notch cutting-edge tools in cybersecurity. Okay, it's basically a network scanner and a port scanner. It can scan your network, tell you what all devices are active in your network, and on those devices, what protocols are running or what ports are open and what services are running on. It can also be used as a vulnerability scanner, but it's not that effective compared to the other tools we have. So for vulnerability scanning, we have a much better tool called Tenable Nessus. You can go to your browser, search for Tenable Nessus. This is one of the tools that is used in organizations, even in today's world. So again, a very a real-time tool that we have a practical usage of in our course as well. So when I click on this link from tenable.com, you can notice if I scroll down, I have an option here to buy. And if you observe the price, it's quite high. It's around $6,000. And that too only for 1 year subscription. And frankly speaking, it's worth that price. This tool is capable of scanning each and every nook and corner of your network and tell you on what device, what kind of a vulnerability exists. So no matter what the device is, whether it be a Windows client operating system, a Windows server operating system, or a Linux device, or a router, or a firewall, whatever it be, or a mobile phone, even from the smallest appliance to the largest appliance that you have in a network, it can scan each and every device and tell you on that device what vulnerabilities exist. Are there any misconfigurations on the device? Are there any loopholes in the source code of the application? Every single thing can be observed by this device. Okay, so it can scan the complete network and tell you what vulnerabilities exist on each system. But again, don't worry about the price, guys. This is what is paid by the organization for you, by the company for you. But if you want to learn this tool, luckily for us, there's a trial version as well. With that trial version, you can scan 16 devices in your network. Okay, so I'm going to practically show you in the class how to install this application. And once you have the application ready, how do you perform vulnerability scanning? So this is my Nessus application installed on my system. And you can notice this is what a report looks like. It tells you on each system what kind of a vulnerability exists and how impactful the vulnerability is. There are 5 levels of vulnerabilities: information-based, low, medium, high, and critical. An organization should never have critical, high, or medium vulnerabilities. If it does, cyber threats are imminent. Okay. So again, I'm going to explain how to install this tool, how to run this tool, how to perform vulnerability scanning, and how do you use this report to perform attacks or penetration testing. Okay. Again, guys, might be getting a bit technical, but just trying to show you the tools that are used in organizations in real time. And just to explain that we will be using the same tools in our class as well, okay, in our course. Any questions or doubts up to this part, guys? Please let me know. Do not hesitate to let me know if there's something that's confusing. I can explain it again in a simpler way. Krishna, Shankar, Feroz, Shrinu, Tarun, Umesh, Shushmita,
Well,
Vivek.
one doubt is that you're going to go in detail on how exactly.
Sorry, Vivek, come again.
I'm saying the ones you need to explain on this individual, how it comes out and what are the specifics of it, will go in deep on the after we learn the software, right?
So your voice is a bit distorted, Vivek, but again, I guess you're asking me, are we going to go into details of this tool? Definitely, I'm going to show you how to install the tool, how to run this tool, exactly the way it is used in an organization. How do you perform the scanning? And once you perform the scan, how do you create a report out of it? And how do you analyze that report? So we're going to learn all of that in our course. So there's a topic called vulnerability scanning using Nessus. In that topic, we're going to go in depth on this tool and understand every aspect of it. I hope that clarifies.
Is this going to be later on in the course, or Shoaib, you're going to take us through today?
No. Again, this is just a demo, Shushmita. Again,
Okay.
in the demo, I just wanted to show you what tools we are working with.
Okay.
In the course, I'm going to explain a bit more detail about this tool. Today, there's nothing more. Just wanted to show you what tools we are using and what we use them for. That's
Okay.
it. Okay. Right, coming to the next part after scanning is done. So once you have performed information gathering and scanning, you have all the information required to attack the system. So now the next job is nothing but attacking itself, and that is called as gaining access. So this is the main core of the subject, guys, where you learn how to attack each and every endpoint in an organization. Okay, and hence it contains a lot of topics. It's a huge topic. Okay, it contains a vast variety of topics, as you can see. So let me list them out one by one and explain what they mean. So the first topic that we learn in gaining access is system hacking. How do you crack or bypass any Windows operating system password? So for example, let's say you have a Windows system in front of you, whether it be Windows 7, Windows 8.1, Windows 10, Windows 11, does not matter which version it is. I'm going to show you how hackers can crack or bypass your password and still access the internal files. So I'm going to show you again. This can be helpful in an organization as well. If you're logged out of your own system, if you've forgotten your password, how do you bypass that? It's quite an important concept required. Then comes malware attacks. Malware is a word that is joined from two separate terms: malicious softwares. Okay. Any software which is capable of harming your system. Again, it's a malicious software. Okay. There's tons and tons of categories in it again. There's viruses, worms, Trojan, spyware, rootkit, whatnot. We practically learn how to create each of these malwares, how to defend our system from these malwares, and also how to detect them if they are actually installed on our systems and you have no knowledge on them. Okay, so again, we'll learn in depth on malwares as well. There's also a bonus topic called malwares advanced. It's altogether a different course, guys. Okay, but I've included it and I'll be sharing the resources for it, where you will learn how to write malwares on your own using Python programming. Again, just a bonus concept, guys. It's not included in our course and not even in the EC Council curriculum. Okay, I've just added it. So if people have knowledge on Python already, they can use this bonus concept to learn malware development. After that, there's network penetration testing, where we learn the common network attacks like sniffing attack, man in the middle attack, denial of service attack, or hacking Wi-Fi routers, cracking the password for Wi-Fi routers. All this falls under network pen testing. Okay, network penetration testing. In sniffing and man in the middle, we will be capable of capturing others' data. So whatever usernames and passwords I might be entering, a hacker in the same network could actually capture that information. So we learn what tools are used for that. Okay? A very important tool that we learn in that module is the Wireshark. So you can go to your browser, search for Wireshark. This is one of the most important tools for sniffing. So we'll be working on this tool as well. 1 second. Yeah. Now, after that is done, then we go into social engineering attacks, where we learn what are the common cyber threats that people face in day-to-day life. So there's attacks where people get fake links, okay, fake emails or fake text messages or fake phone calls, and these fake emails or whatever are generated by hackers, where they try to trick the user into getting the client's credentials. So I could call up a person and I could act as a bank employee, saying, "Hi sir, we're calling from so and so bank. Is this your bank account number?" And I'll list out the last 4 digits or so. Okay. And I'll tell them, "So we are updating our bank servers, or we are updating our databases. We need you to again log into your bank login page and change your password." And then I'll send you a link which would look exactly similar like your bank's official website. And when you enter the credentials there, they might actually go to the attacker's system. So I'll show you how hackers generate those fake login pages. How do they initiate these calls in the social engineering class? Also, on the defense part, we'll also learn how to differentiate between an original page and a fake page. Okay, what are the common things to look for or to verify whether this call is, whether this contact that you're getting is a genuine one or a fake one. Okay, distinguishing between those. Then there's web application pen testing, where we learn the common vulnerabilities in websites. Okay, so again, this is altogether a different course, guys, web application penetration testing. But basics of that are included in CEH as well, where we learn what are the common weaknesses that websites could have. So there's something like SQL injection, cross-site scripting, broken authentication, file upload vulnerability. These are the weaknesses through which hackers can inject malicious queries on databases or inject JavaScript code in websites. Okay, and try to create phishing links, okay, in the sense fake links, fake websites. Broken authentication, where I don't even need to know the user's password. I can just copy his cookie and paste the cookie and get his login page. Then file upload vulnerability, where I can upload malicious files to the server and get complete connection of the server remotely. All these are web application attacks. Okay. This is an advanced concept, guys. It's again, frankly speaking, altogether a different course itself, but an introduction to that is given in CBS as well. Then there's vulnerability assessment, one of the most important topics for our course. During this, we'll be using a tool called Metasploit framework. So if you go to your browser, search for Metasploit framework, you can see it is called as a penetration testing software. What it means is basically once you get a report from a vulnerability scanning tool, so once you get a tool, a report like this, it tells you that this vulnerability that is shown here can be attacked or can be exploited with a tool like Metasploit. Now, this is a tool which allows you to create exploits in the sense to create codes and to attack with those codes on those certain vulnerabilities and get remote connection. So once you get a report telling you that a certain system contains a vulnerability, in order to verify that, you have this tool, Metasploit framework. It allows you to perform those attacks and tell you for sure whether the vulnerability is truly existing or if it was just a false positive. Okay, so that verification is called as vulnerability assessment. You try to assess the system by attacking on it and checking if the vulnerability is truly there or if it was just an error from the software. Okay, and that is quite an important part in the cybersecurity domain. It's commonly called as a VAPT, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. You're trying to assess each vulnerability by attacking on it, by penetrating with that and testing its security. Okay, so we'll be using this tool as well in our course. And finally, after that, we have hacking mobile phones, where we learn how to hackers initiate Trojans for mobiles and they get remote connection of Android phones. So once I've sent you a Trojan, and once you've installed that, I can access your SMS messages, I can access your contacts, I can access your call logs, I can access the whole data on your phone, all your images, your gallery, whatnot. So I'll show you how hackers can perform this and how can you secure your phones from these attacks. So again, if you notice over here, we're covering every endpoint that could exist in an organization. We're talking about system security. We're talking about network security. We're talking about wireless security. We're talking about web application security. And we're also talking about mobile security. So all the endpoints that could exist in a network are covered. Okay. After all this is done, there are two small topics left out, which are maintaining access and reporting or clearing traces, as you can see. Again, pretty small topics, guys, will be covered in 2 or 3 days, max to max, not more than that. In maintaining access, we learn how do hackers create persistent connections. Persistent connections in the sense, let's say if I am the hacker and if you are the victim, and I've got a remote connection to your device. Now, this remote connection should not close if you restart your system. Most of our connections are lost. Most of our, calls or whatever are lost when the system restarts. So that shouldn't happen in an attacker scenario. So we learn how do hackers maintain persistent connections, a connection which still automatically reestablishes after a system restarts. Okay. Then we learn reporting or clearing traces, where we learn how do we generate a report as an ethical hacker and submit it to the organization, or how do we remove the evidences as well, like a black hat hacker. So the course is going to run in 2 tracks, guys. We'll learn the offensive methods and the defensive methods as well. How do you attack like a hacker? And how do you defend your systems like an ethical hacker? Okay. And since not everyone might be from a technical background, don't worry, guys, if you're completely new to this domain or if you have no knowledge on computers much, okay, because this course also includes a few prerequisites. Okay. So again, when you want to go in cybersecurity, there's a few important concepts you have to again know about. Okay, so basically you need to know what IP addresses are. Okay, so what are IP addresses? What are IPv4 addresses? What is a DNS server? What is a DHCP server? What are these protocols? What are ports? What is TCP protocol? What is UDP protocol? All that is included in the course itself. So we have a concept called networking basics where I'll explain all that first. Then we learn virtualization. Virtualization is where I'll allow you to create a virtual setup on your own system itself. Okay, so you will have a practical lab on your own device, which you can practice on whenever you want to. You don't need my access for it, or you don't need to access to a website for practice. Nothing. I'll show you how you can install a lab setup on your own device using a tool called VMware. So once this tool is installed, inside this, we'll have a practical lab setup, okay? An operating system called Kali OS. This Kali operating system is a Linux-based operating system, guys. So you can download this for free from the website kali.org. This is the official website for Kali. And you can notice it says most advanced penetration testing distribution. So this is an open source Linux operating system, which contains all the tools pre-installed for hacking. Okay. And this is one of the most important operating systems that is required for cybersecurity. Okay. So again, when you're working in cybersecurity, you will definitely sure work with Kali operating system. Okay. And I'll show you how to install this and how to create a lab setup of your own on your device itself. Once you have created the lab setup and once you're familiar with networking concepts, then we go into Linux commands. Since Kali is a Linux operating system, we need to know how to run that operating system, how to perform basic operations on that operating system. So for that, we have a Linux and Windows commands class. After these prerequisites are covered, after these basic concepts are covered, then we dive into the advanced concepts. Okay. So again, this course is for people who have no clue on what cybersecurity is or what even this computer, again, what even, frankly speaking, even if you have no knowledge on how to run basic Windows operating system as well, I'm going to explain from scratch. Okay. So this course can even be done by a person who is just studying in his 12th standard as well, frankly speaking. So yeah, there's these topics and there's a few bonus concepts as well, guys, which are included for you to know what can be done after this course is completed. Okay, so I'm going to share a few advanced course links as well. Okay, advanced topics as well, such as reverse engineering, cryptography, IoT security, cloud security, Splunk for SOC analysis. I'm going to share the resources for these advanced courses as well. Okay, so the whole course is divided, as I've mentioned, guys, in a 20-40 ratio. First 15 minutes will have the theoretical part. Remaining 25 to 35 minutes, we talk about the practical part. You'll have classes from Monday to Friday every day for 1 hour each. And a new batch is starting tomorrow at 8 p.m. So if you want to join the batch, you can join the demo tomorrow as well, where we'll talk about networking basics, the first class, okay, tomorrow at 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So any questions or doubts, guys, before that?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, Shankar.
You will practically show how to hack any systems or like that type of, or you will do the courses all only topics you will explain and you will show practical.
No, that's the main objective, Shankar. I'm going to practically show you how to find vulnerabilities in systems and how do you attack and get remote connections. So if there's a Windows operating system, I'll show you how to find weaknesses in Windows operating system, attack on them, and get remote connection. So it is a practical course itself. There's no theory nonsense and stuff. Yeah, Shankar.
So if I will, so as an example, if a student, you will take the students' login and everything credential, you will go into their system, you will show that.
Why do I need to take your login credentials? Why, when I can attack
No,
my
that
system itself and show you how it is performed?
no, like that is what if a person will get all the credential, he can hack that person, and that what you will show that, sir.
Uh, Again, Shankar, frankly speaking, look at it in a perspective where I don't even need to know your credentials to hack your system, frankly speaking. So again, there's something called as weaknesses on systems. Every system might have a weakness. So your job in cybersecurity is to find those loopholes. Again, if I find that loophole, I don't even need your password. I can just access a certain port, a certain service that is running on your system, use that service and exploit your device. And I can get a remote connection on your system with that port itself. I don't even need your password. So that's the part of
So you will
cybersecurity.
show that, sir. You
I
will
will.
show that.
That's yeah. That's the main objective of the course: how to find those
Okay.
weaknesses, how to attack on those weaknesses, and get your connections remotely.
Oh,
So again, whether
oh,
it be a
okay.
Windows operating system, whether it be a Linux operating system, whether it be a mobile phone, whether it be a web application server, we perform the same operation on each of these devices. Okay,
Okay, sir. Understood. Thank you.
right. Any other questions, guys?
Hey, hi, Srinivas here.
Hey, Shrinu.
Yeah. So we only discuss about the vulnerabilities, or we like walk us through the any prevention steps as well? Like let's assume that.
That's me. Yeah, it's both offensive and defensive, as mentioned. So we learn what the vulnerabilities are, and we also learn how to remediate them, how to defend those or prevent those vulnerabilities from existing on our systems. So once you know this is how a system can be attacked, only then you can learn how to defend from it as well. So we learn both offense and defense.
And add to that, so you mentioned like on a web application penetration testing, you might discuss a couple of topics, right? So, like how much time you want to focus on that part? Like,
To be frank, just 2 classes on that, 2 hours, not more than that. Because again, as I've mentioned, that's altogether a completely different course. I specialize in that. So after CEH is done, if you're interested in web application pen testing, there's a different course altogether for it. Okay, so you can contact me separately for that. It is not taught by the institute. I teach it personally. So
okay.
again, there's another 20-hour course separately for it. So if you're interested in that, you can let me know. Okay,
Thank you.
sure. Any other questions, guys? Krishna, Vivek, Shankar, Feroz, Shrinu, Shushmita, Tarun, Umesh. Any questions? Please do not
Sir,
hesitate. Yeah,
yes.
Feroz.
Good morning, sir.
Good
Sir,
morning.
so as I understood via this walkthrough, that we are going to learn first of all, we'll know the issues and then we are going to have a preventive measure to that, right?
Exactly.
So sir, regarding this, as in my company where I'm working right now, we get too much irritated, this we are not getting production access, even it is we are getting it for very short time, for 3 hours.
Okay,
So for example, and that should be approval from the head of our department itself, that this person have an access for this much time.
definitely.
So, sir, this is also the one of the way to prevent, or they are just doing for some, guidelines, or how this will set in a context of cybersecurity. And then,
You could say it could be a part of compliance testing as well, Feroz. So whenever you work for any organization, when you have your own website as well, if that organization is an e-commerce website or a banking website or whatever it is, they have to follow through a few guidelines and compliances, PCS and PCI, okay, payment card industry compliances. So when you're hosting a website, it needs to follow a framework that website is secure and clients can access that website. Okay. So whenever it's a website or even if it's in your internal device, there's a team always called the SOC team or the NOC team. Okay, security operation centers, network operation centers. Not many companies follow this framework. Okay, but in a real time, this should be the framework in every organization. They need to have a special security team which tells you from time to time what weaknesses exist in your organization. And you're keeping your systems compliance tested, secure, according to the latest regulations and guidelines. Okay. But again, in India, that's not much followed. Whenever it's about that security testing, they give it to third-party organizations. So there's another organization externally testing their security from time to time. Okay. So I'm teaching you what that security organization does. Okay. How do you check the security of your appliances or applications or devices in your network? Okay. So again, you could regard it as compliance testing as well. The testing which tells you that your organization is secure, your websites are secure from cyber threats.
okay, sir, noted. Thank you, sir. So one more question. So as you are mentioning that 8 p.m. is the next demo, and
Yeah, tomorrow 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. So from Monday to
Same
Friday.
time?
Yeah, every day same time, Feroz. From Monday to Friday, every day at 8 p.m. you'll have the class. So tomorrow is the
8
first day.
p.m. or 8 a.m., sir? As I see on the website, it is 8 a.m. it's written.
Website. No. It's 8 p.m. Feroz. 8 p.m. Indian
Evening,
Standard. Evening itself.
evening,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. And
Okay.
the fees is not show. I mean, there is no fees information, sir. So
You can contact the organization for that, Feroz. They'll give you that information. So I'm not supposed to be disclosing it.
sure, thank you.
But again, if you have any further queries regarding the technical aspects of this course also, you can contact me on this number. Let me drop my contact number here. Just a second in the chat box. +91 8499 This is my personal number. If you have any queries or contacts regarding any of these topics, practically or again concept wise, you can contact me on this on WhatsApp. Okay. If you have any queries regarding the timings, or again, as I've mentioned, clarifying the timings, it's 8 p.m. every day for tomorrow, from tomorrow, guys. 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. from Monday to Friday, only on weekdays, no classes on weekends. Okay. And any queries regarding the payment also, you can contact the institute directly for that. Okay. So that's that, guys. Nothing further. If you have any other queries, you can let me know. If not, we can exit the session and I'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m.
Thank you, sir. Thanks.
Okay. Uh,
Thank you, sir.
yeah. Any questions? Tarun, you were
Nothing.
saying.
Thank you.
Okay. Shushmita, any questions on your end?
No, Shoaib, nothing from my end. Thank you.
Perfect. So yeah, that's done, guys. Nothing further. I'm going to exit the session now, and I'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Please do not forget to join the class 8 p.m. We'll be taking the first concept of networking. We'll talk about what IP addresses are, basically what IPv4 addresses are, what are public IP.
Hello.
Yeah, then.
Yes, Shoaib, is there any possibility to talk with you personally?
Yeah, Tarun. I've dropped my number, right? So you can contact me on WhatsApp on that number after the session ends. That's my personal number.
Yes, yes. I want to talk to something because I'm working as a automation testing engineer from 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
There is no growth in my company. That's what I am thinking to shift to this technology.
I understand. No problem, Tarun. I hope you have got my number in the chat box.
Yes, yes.
I hope you have noted it down because
Yes,
once we exit
when
this,
you are free, when we need to call, what is the time?
11:15 or so, if that's okay.
Okay, okay.
Okay. 11:15 or I'm usually free in the evenings as well. So you can contact me right now after the class ends at 11:15. Or you can contact me in the evenings
Before
as well.
calling, I will ping you on.
Definitely. Sure.
Okay.
Okay, sure. So yeah, that's that, guys. Nothing further. I'm going to exit the session now. Please do join the 8 p.m. session tomorrow in the evening. We'll learn about networking. Okay. Bye-bye. Good day, guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.